You already know Kowloon Restaurant, established in 1950 and spanning 4 generations, serves a multi-Asian menu. Did you also know that Kowloon Restaurant is New England's premier Asian dining and entertainment complex, serving Cantonese, Szechuan, Thai, and Polynesian cuisine? And did you know that Kowloon Restaurant is also the home of the finest Japanese sushi? If you haven't dined at Kowloon Restaurant lately, then you simply haven't dined at Kowloon. Kowloon Restaurant, Route 1 North in Saugus.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Harley Race.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
This is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans from around the corner, around the world, welcome to another installment. Wrestling Insiders, I'm Dan Marotti, joined by the man right there that could spell fabulous in 8 different languages, Mr. John Cena Sr. Johnny, pleasure to have you here.
Always a pleasure to be here.
We are here on the quote-unquote playing Monday quarterback with WWE Extreme Rules last night. It was a big event out in Chi-Town. Some say hit, some say miss. I have my own thoughts. I know you had a chance to check it out, Johnny. What did you think of Extreme Rules?
I thought Extreme Rules was not extreme at all. I think that in a couple of cases they missed the mark. I was not impressed with the Harper, Dean Ambrose storyline. I don't know who wrote that. I have no idea where it came from, but that made about as much sense as me assuming the position of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. It just didn't make any sense at all. I think there are a couple of other few weak points in there, but then again, it is what it is. We'll see what happens when we take a look at Payback.
Well, let's kind of examine it from top to bottom. I think one thing fans like you and I need to eliminate the fact that we have involvement in wrestling, but as a wrestling fan, you, Dan, and John, as wrestling fans, we have to come to the point where we say WWE is going to be very good at what WWE wants to be. And that may be a little bit different from what a lot of wrestling fans want to see. WWE is not only positioning itself for now in the marketplace, but for years and decades to come. And that is something different than the professional wrestling product that we'd like to see as WWE goes in more of an entertainment direction. I don't know why there's even a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules anymore when they want to go PG route, because they can't do anything with any of the stipulation matches.
I don't think there was a whole lot of extremity there last night.
Right.
You know, the old thumbtacks are gone. I think you definitely need to have some color or blood when you do a cage match. That Russian chain match definitely should have had a little color in that. I think that's what's happened is it's all been whitewashed. I had several guests over watching this, and wrestling fans and non-wrestling fans, and they all said the same thing. There are a couple of good shots here, but I think that Dean Ambrose thing was just totally, I mean, I was lost. New Day winning the belts, that was kind of a shocker to me. That was a definite curve by the WWE. I didn't see anything extreme there.
Well, to their credit, the tag team title match didn't have a stipulation to it. It was one of the few
but
matches.
you know what? It still was Extreme Rules.
All
Anything
right.
goes at Extreme Rules. You know, I just kind of sit back and say, okay, I understand where they're going. They have a rating they have to stay with. There are certain things they have to do. But you know what? I probably will get in trouble, but creative needs to be more creative.
They need people that understand the wrestling product as much as they want to go in the more entertainment route, because no matter what they may say, that they're an entertainment company that just happens to feature wrestling, I don't care what anyone says, Johnny. Have you ever seen anyone leaving a live event that says, I just saw a sports entertainment event? No, they went and they saw a wrestling show, or they went and they saw WWE. WWE, you know, again, WWE could say the sky is green, but we know it's blue. It's a wrestling product, and people want to enjoy professional wrestling content when they go to see a wrestling show. And I think the more that they try and push away from that, I think they're going to push a lot more fans such as you and I away. The good thing for the WWE business model is that there are more and more young fans that continue to gain interest in the world of WWE. And like I said, WWE does a great job with what WWE wants to be. The problem is what is left for the professional wrestling fan. TNA, I don't think, is delivering it. Ring of Honor has had their chance. I don't know if they're necessarily delivering it. So you have a problem of fans trying to go the route of looking at New Japan, AAA in Mexico, or trying to find various independents on the internet. There is not that product that fans can find easily that gives them that professional wrestling fix, so to speak. Your thoughts?
Well, I just say this. I will say that creative may create, but like the Pope and the Cardinals, somebody has to give approval. So I think it's time now. I mean, look, I'm a fan of Roman Reigns. I've said it before. I think he needs more time. He's not ready. I said it. I'll say it again for you. I think it was absolutely ridiculous the way that that match ended. If you watch closely, why did Big Show, who was up strong, all of a sudden go down to 2 knees so the table could be thrown on top of him? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This was not said by me. This was said by guests that I had at my house.
At the compound.
Non-wrestling fans. And so all I'm saying is, you know what? Yeah, it's entertainment, but in entertainment there still has to exist that element of believability, that element of reality. I am the giant. It would have been a lot better to have something else happen where maybe Show was coming at him and that was just kind of over and tossed and Show went down. Would have made a lot more sense than watching this 8-foot giant all of a sudden go fall down on 2 knees and look up and wait for the table to be pushed over. God bless Roman Reigns. God bless Big Show. I think they did a good job last night. I think that Roman Reigns needs a lot of work on that mic. He just cannot handle the stick. He just has not come into his own yet, if I can use that word. I didn't see anything special last night. I saw a couple of Superman punches. I saw a spear. You know, the 5 moves of doom. I just can't help saying, you've got 2 moves of doom now, and this is the man that's going to be on top. I don't say he can't do it. I say he's not ready. I don't think Seth Rollins was ready for his position either, but it was the lesser of 2 evils. So, was it extreme? Was I extremely happy with what I saw? I would say I might have been happy with a few of the matches, but overall, I don't quite think it met the requirement for Extreme Rules.
How do you think the fan that spent $45 or $55 on pay-per-view felt with the value for their dollar?
I probably think they're going to say what some of the other people said at my home last night. This is like watching Raw. And until you step up your game, and maybe the game's part of the problem. Maybe he's spending too much time with NXT and not enough time in Vince's ear, or vice versa. But I think what's going to happen now is, certainly, they have to look at this and make a decision. The decision is, yes, we're entertainment, but we're also wrestling. And I think what happens when you start to divide the pie, wrestling, network, movies, restaurants, whatever else is coming down the pike, the more you diversify, the less paint goes on the wall. So I think that what needs to happen at this point is definitely take a look at Extreme Rules last night. Take a look at the product. Take a look at what fans are really looking for. And then I say give it to them. And WWE, who is on top, will always be on top.
What did you think of Neville? Newcomer to WWE, made quite a splash at NXT. He's been brought up to the main roster since WrestleMania, and he defeated Bad News Barrett, the pre-show matchup.
Shame on WWE. I think Bad News Barrett should have won that belt. I think that Bad News Barrett, who's got a great persona and personality, needed to have that. If Bryan is well enough down the road, bring him back in. I don't believe you'll see Daniel Bryan for quite a while. Neville's new, just came up. new face, new time, new era. Maybe that's what they're trying to bring in. But I'll tell you what, Bad News Barrett deserved that Intercontinental title. Just my opinion.
Well, you had in the opening contest the beginning of a two-part street fight. Dean Ambrose victorious over Luke Harper. You touched on that one. It was not your cup of tea with all the shenanigans that went on in that street fight.
That was nobody's cup of tea. Listen, since when do you have a match when two people get into a car and drive off? So what did they do? Who stopped them? The Chicago police? How did they get back to the arena? What's the point of coming in exactly when New Day is celebrating their tag team victory? I don't know who writes these things, but I certainly can do a better job than that. And I hope I don't offend anybody by saying it. And today I may get in a lot of trouble.
You have an opinion, brother.
Well, but I also have respect. And I don't want to have anybody think I'm losing respect for the individuals or the people behind it, because I'm not. I'm just simply saying how I feel, based on what I saw, based on the comments of non-wrestling fans. And when you get somebody who is new to chocolate cake and goes, this isn't even chocolate, then you have a problem. There were too many things up in the air. And then the final way to win? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? You can't be serious. But I just sat back and said, oh, well, I don't think it did anything for Dean Ambrose. I really don't. And I think Dean Ambrose is going too much to the side where he's loco la cabeza. They really have to push him back a little bit, because what he's trying to do, and I said it before and I'll say it again, I could be wrong, but I'm telling you right now, he's a Roddy Piper ripoff.
See, I disagree with you on that.
Well,
I really do.
And I don't mean ripoff in a bad way, because imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But when I see this Roddy Piper look in his eye, when I see this Roddy Piper stuff he's doing, you know what? I'm sorry. You know what? I think it's time they kind of polish up a few things. They kind of put stuff back where it belongs. I'm so tired of getting believed by everybody in the locker room. You know, somebody said to me, oh, it's going to be a match with Bolieve and Ryback. I said, no, in the business we call it a squash. If he goes more than 2 minutes, I'll be surprised. And
well, it wasn't even a matchup.
They didn't even have a schedule. There's no referee in that ring. So how did he win? I mean,
you couldn't even call it a match. It was more of a fill-in segment.
Well, but you know what? These are the types of things that make no sense. Now, what would have made sense if Bolieve started, which he did, ragging on Chicago, ragging on Feed Me More, because you're all a bunch of buffet freaks in Chicago. All you eat is a lot of that pizza. Feed you more pizza, feed you more Coke so you can get fatter and bigger. That's when the man should have come out, Feed Me More, charged the ring, took him out, stood over and said, feed me more, and the crowd would have popped and it would have been over. But they made it look like it was a match. You know what, like I say, today may be my day to get in trouble, but I'm sorry. That was like, throw it up against the wall and hope it sticks. Some of these people really do need to sit down and look at what they're doing when they see the finished product and say, oh my God, where did we go from here? Even the steel cage match last night, I sat and watched that, and I'm, with my friends, and I'm sitting back and I'm going, this has all been done before.
What about the Kiss My Arse match, which was another matchup that seemed to miss the boat when it came to anything extreme, and they didn't even follow up on the stipulation when Dolph Ziggler defeated Sheamus?
Look, Dan, I've been at this a long time. I'm sitting with my friends, and all of a sudden, Sheamus has got to kiss his arse. I'm not doing it. I'm wasting time. I'm going to go, oh my, I'm not doing it. God, be to God, I can't kiss another man's arse. He get down to his knees, and the first thing I said to the group, he's going to give him a ball shot. And the question from them was, what's that? I said, watch. Sure enough, ball shot, Baroque kick, and it's over. So now they extend the feud between Ziggler and Sheamus.
Why have a stipulation match if you can't follow up on the stipulation?
Because
that's usually meant to be the blow-off, not the continuation.
But you can't do it, because you could not take Sheamus and let him kiss Ziggler's ass in plain English. That would deflate the whole character you've built up. This evil Irishman who's going to conquer, confuse, and destroy the entire locker room. Nor could you have Ziggler, who who I think is a tremendous upcoming star, and it's got a great potential, but, you know, you read what's on the internet now, and they're saying, oh, Ziggler teases maybe leaving WWE. Well, maybe the Pope's going to buy a pizza from Domino's, too. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that a lot of these marks out there wish things would happen. Occasionally, I'm enticed. Once in a while, maybe once a week, I'll go to a wrestling site and read what kind of garbage is out there. And it's a lot of garbage. But I don't think that match really...
Well, why have the stipulation if there's no purpose for it?
It's
If you're
very
not going
easy.
to follow through for it.
It's very easy.
Did anyone come out of that match looking better than they did?
It's very easy. First of all, it's a free buffet. You understand what I mean? The food is free. But when you walk in the door, I say there's a $10 cover charge. The hype on the match alone was enough to make people want to go and tune in. Do you understand how it works?
Okay, so you get them to want to see the match, but when you present them a finish that no one wants to see, who benefits from
You
it?
presented
WWE doesn't benefit from it.
But they
Sheamus
did.
doesn't look any better from it because he did the job
Yes,
to
he
Ziggler.
does.
Ziggler actually won the match, but he doesn't look any better because he got castrated after the match, and the fans didn't like it. So who
Ziggler-
benefits from it?
Sheamus may have lost the match but won the war. So, you know what?
You think
have
he's
to-
more hot going into Raw tonight than he was last night?
I think that he shows a lot of strength. I think that he shows...
He lost.
But he may have lost but won the war. He was deceptive enough to take out his opponent, regardless of how he did it. And so you sit back and you say to yourself, where can we go from here? Where does it go from here? Ziggler, you know, you asked for this. This is your match. Look, from the very start of that match, I was watching it. I'm going, so where, again, is the extremity or the extreme? It was a good wrestling match. I think both of those gentlemen put on a great performance. And when people say, well, Sheamus lost, the surprise in Sheamus's face basically said it all. It's impossible. I couldn't be beat. They had to set that whole thing up so that Sheamus could come back once again. Yes, Bray Wyatt's lost, but he's still the #1 villain. The best villain in WWE right now is Rusev. He's another Iron Sheik. Great potential in that man. I see great things. But when you turn around and look at the finish of that, it's exactly what should have happened, the way it should have gone down. First of all, do I think that match made any sense at all to even have that kind of stipulation? No. It has no place in professional wrestling.
You know, I could see that, again, as the blow-off to a long feud, not something that began a week ago on Raw, and they said, well, let's just slap a stipulation on it to make it have a little bit more sizzle. It didn't have any more sizzle. And I think I'm speaking for a lot of people when I say that match had, with two great athletes, had no sizzle to it. No one cared.
That should have been the match that stole the night. It was absolutely, in my opinion, I just kind of sat there and watched, and I said...
It had no build-up to get to the point we were even trying to go to the finishes.
Nope.
It was 5 minutes long, maybe?
Maybe a little
It was a
longer.
short match.
It was longer than that. It was longer than that. But the match finished, and then you had that downtime where Sheamus was, okay, let's get it over,
Yeah.
fella. All right, I'll do it, fella. No, I'm not going to do it. So you had the anticipation of the crowd being, like the old proverbial cow, being milked, and finally Sheamus goes, okay. But the end was good, because in the end, it was Ziggler who kissed Sheamus's ass, as Sheamus grabbed his head and rubbed his face in his hindquarter. So it was, well, but stop
No, I want you to finish first.
Stop and think about it. Who kissed whose ass?
I want to see, now I'll go with this now. If you want to say that this was a success, you could look back in history at it as being the focal point of the beginning of a bigger angle between the two. Ziggler being, even though he won the match, being humiliated where the stipulation wasn't followed through on. Not only that, he was attacked and was forced to kiss Sheamus's ass. Are they going to fast forward this into a feud where it continues to the next pay-per-view? Will it be forgotten? Will they have a match on Raw tonight and then say, oh well?
No, I think...
What do you think is going to happen,
I think it's
Fabo?
going to be, there'll be another match at Payback. That's what Payback's all about. They set up Payback. If you really follow the storyline, we have set up Payback, and Payback is a bitch.
Wow. Strong words from the fabulous one. What about New Day? The fans don't like New Day. I don't say New Day sucks. I like Kofi an awful lot. You know that.
Oh, Kofi's a personal friend of mine. But I just simply think that I just, you know what? I was shocked. I expected Cesaro and Tyson Kidd to retain those tag team belts.
But, you know, and I like Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, but they're dead again. They haven't done anything to keep them hot.
Well, who have they put them up against? That's the key.
There you go.
That's the key. So you put them up.
People are reacting to New Day, which, for better or worse, they're getting a reaction.
And so is Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. I mean, the thing in this business is, and I'm sure you understand it, is when you get no noise, that's a bad sign. Both teams were getting noise. And plus, they had a beautiful manager in their corner. So,
Xavier Woods?
Xavier Woods. Yeah, right. And so now what they're going to do is they're going to be heel champions, obviously. You can see that coming down the road. Whether that will be successful for them or not, I choose to say no. I don't think they possess what's necessary to maintain and hold those titles. But let's see what happens.
What about your offspring, John Cena, successfully retaining WWE U.S. Championship over Rusev in the chain match? What I want to know, Johnny, is what happened to the U.S. spinning belt? Do they have to go to your house to get it back to put it on them? Everyone loved that belt.
I do have the original 101 U.S. spinner belt. I show that off once in a while. When I do cancer shows, wrestling shows. That's the belt that I bring to raise money with, along with the current WWE Championship belt. I wouldn't be surprised if Cena doesn't rework that belt. I also would sit back and say to myself, Payback. I quit match. I'm just wondering if we're not going to have a new U.S. champion.
No. It seems that all roads are going to lead to the two, Rusev and Lana, splitting, and I think that's going to kill them both, because I think they're much better off with each other.
I don't think so. I would definitely say no. I would disagree with you on that point. I would think that Rusev is now strong enough. He's developed enough heat, like the Iron Sheik, with his infamy against the USA, that they will pair him up with someone else. Now, where Lana goes from here, I don't know. Maybe there's a jealousy gimmick going with, I have no idea. But I think Rusev, and another great person, a friend. And I think, and I don't mean that in a bad way, don't trust him because he don't like United States, but he still, likes to drink vodka, which is good. But I just think he's the top villain right now, and if Bray Wyatt was given the chance, I think he'd be great. I can see Rusev right now going after Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Really?
And there would be nothing better in my book than to have Rusev destroy Seth Rollins. And the match that I would like to see is 2 of 1, or whatever you want to put it. I would like to say Rusev against Brock Lesnar, which would be meaningful, or make it a 3-way dance with R&R in there with that stupid bulletproof vest. Rusev and Brock Lesnar.
See, I don't think Lesnar needs to do any more 3-ways. I think those matches, the more you have them, the less meaning they have.
Well,
and he's done 2 this year already.
I like Rusev against Brock Lesnar.
You've been big on that match for a while.
Well, you know what? I was big on Seth Rollins cashing in and not giving the belt to your buddy Roman Reigns. And you said, no, you can't do that. You can't possibly do that. You've got to go all the way. Well, it looks like
Well, you want to know what?
The Cena
we could save this for a different time. But is Seth Rollins any hotter than he was before WrestleMania right now with the belt?
No.
I don't think so. Is Roman Reigns any hotter than he was before WrestleMania?
I don't think so.
So what purpose did that serve?
Well, my answer...
They may have worked with your finish, but is anybody better off for it?
No, my answer was very simple. Keep the belt on Lesnar.
You know what? And I didn't disagree with that, I should say.
Keep the belt on Lesnar. Rusev Cena ends. And now we have the Clash of the Titans. The Russian Superman versus the man from MMA, the big champion, Paul Heyman's man. Rusev destroyed. They can keep Lana and Heyman going back and forth all the time with this. Heyman hustle, whatever you want. I think that's the kind of stuff that the wrestling audiences want to see. There is no such thing, as everybody keeps telling me in this business, there's no such thing as old school. But you know what?
Old school's a big school, brother.
Thank you very much. And my whole thing is that this is the type of stuff that people would like to see, that people want to see. When Lesnar comes back, excuse me, he's going to come back as a face. I definitely don't want to see Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. Reigns goes over. It's Lesnar against Reigns, and Reigns beats him. It makes no sense. If you would have been there for WrestleMania and saw the beating, and I don't know whether it was a shoot or work, but all I can tell you is when Lesnar was opened up, that's when the hit the fan. And I know Sika was there. He was kind of upset, yelling at his son, get up and fight, blah, blah, blah. And you know, I just think the belt would have been better off where it was. If
there were any, wouldn't it have been good to see a match with that type of intensity on a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules, just to finish off the results?
Yes.
John Cena was victorious
Yes.
over Rusev.
Yep.
Roman Reigns, as we mentioned, won the last man standing match against the Big Show, which wasn't one of your favorites. And then, to me, in the main event, it was just such a blah.
It wasn't a main event.
Raw or SmackDown main event. You know, and I think Kane is fantastic at everything he does, but I think the ship has sailed as far as him being a regular main eventer, and it seems like they're at least going to go with Kane and Seth Rollins on TV, and they can continue the Randy Orton feud. I thought the Orton-Rollins match at WrestleMania was much, much, much better than last night.
Well, first of all, the RKO was banned. The curb stomp was banned. Nobody mentioned that last night, that the curb stomp has been banned by the WWE.
I don't think they want to bring attention to it.
Well, and they shouldn't any more than the RKO, or nobody knows better than I about the punt in the head, which is more dangerous than the curb stomp. But my whole thing is very simple. If I had that show last night, I would have had Kane rip off his white shirt. Up comes the Kane singlet. The mask goes back on, and we now have the demon from hell.
He should have lit the ring on fire. How about
anything,
that? Something extreme, brother.
Thank you. The word is Extreme Rules. And to me, it was the same old, same old. And after, you know, once Triple H said he's been the most devoted employee to the authority and all this other BS that comes down the pasture, I knew right away. I said, watch what's going to happen. The two guys of the authority are going to try to interfere. They're going to get bounced out. Kane's going in. He's going to knock them both on their ass, and then he'll just flip over Rollins, 1, 2, crawl out, he'll win. And that's that simple.
No, again, not to try and knock what WWE presented last night too much, but just compare it to last year's Extreme Rules. You had the John Cena, Bray Wyatt grudge match. You had Kane and Daniel Bryan where they lit tables on fire, and you had that wild six-man that went all over the building between Evolution and the Shield.
That was extreme, was it not?
And they didn't present anything like that last night. So I think that's why overall you got to look at that show as a disappointment.
That's what I'm saying all along.
We'll see what happens on Raw. What do you think is coming to Payback on May 17th? And one of your favorite cities, Baltimore, Maryland. Some great seafood down there.
May 17th. I think Raw's tomorrow night. Why are we going out to make some? Oh, you mean for
Payback?
Well, I'm definitely interested in Rusev Cena. Because I've seen Rusev lose it. I mean, lose it. And when he does, it's just like he doesn't see anything but what's in front of him. And it's like when you saw him at WrestleMania coming out in a Russian tank, trust me when I tell you, this young man is a devastating force. But so is John Cena. So this will be an interesting battle. I do see a championship match coming up. Rollins will definitely be defending. The question is, let's hope it's not against Kane. I don't think that makes much sense unless you're going to put Kane over. Yeah, but no, but you understand what I'm saying. Do you understand what I'm saying? What sense does it make to watch this man get beat again and again and again and again? It's like Big Show. What sense does it make to have this giant who has superhuman strength get destroyed?
I've said it before. That's why Big Show will never be as over as Andre the Giant was. And it's not a bad thing because, you know, in this day and age where you have so much value on the TV show, where you're on just about every TV show, he bounces around like a ping pong, where Andre was always kept special. Andre had much more of an aura. Andre was always a great draw. Big Show's on TV, when healthy, twice a week. Multiply that times 52. What do you get? 104. Add 12 pay-per-views to that. That's a lot of TV exposure, and while he'll always be remembered as one of the top guys in WWE, he's never been as effective as someone like Andre was in the end. But you know what? To Big Show's credit and Kane's credit, both of those guys, quote-unquote, know their role. It has not turned into a WCW situation where they're jockeying for their position. Both men are, in their 40s now. They're being paid great money, and both go to great lengths to put over the superstars of today and tomorrow. And I give both men a lot of credit to that, especially Big Show, who had some rough patches in WWE when he first signed in 1999, to the point they sent him back to Ohio Valley a year later to try and adjust his attitude. Two great representatives of WWE in Big Show and Kane, but I think the time of them as regular main eventers is...
Well, I agree, and I have the utmost respect for Big Show and Kane. Both those are great human beings. But once again, I think they're being used wrong. And if you turn around and you flip the coin, and what you alluded to about Andre the Giant, he was like Brock Lesnar. Made spot appearances. He wasn't on every week.
Everybody made spot appearances for the most part. That's what made the live events and the grudge matches and the pay-per-views so enticing. We don't have that now because there's so much given to us for free. And I mean, think about it in the 80s and early 90s. We would have died to have been able to see the guys like that. But in the long term, that method was right because we longed to see it. We waited to see it. We anticipated to see it. We were willing to spend money to see it. Nowadays, there's too much available at your fingertips for free due to the television contract model. And that's not a bad thing either when it comes to the pay. The talent is generally paid a lot more right now than they were back in the 80s. But you flip side of the coin again, where there's only one really major league promotion in the United States right now. How many more jobs were there available back then as opposed to now? At its peak, wrestling had about 25 territories in this country, with about 20, 25 guys in an office in each promotion. They weren't making huge money, but you know what? They made full-time jobs. But that certainly is a different story for a different time. Fabo, any final thoughts about Payback Extreme Rules?
No, I'm looking forward to Payback. Certainly I'm looking forward to that I Quit match. Looking forward to seeing where the surprise will come in the championship match. And I will tell you this, I think you're going to see, and I'm waiting for Sheamus Ziggler, because Payback's a bitch.
We'll see. I'm a big Dolph Ziggler fan. Johnny and I have fought that for a long time. He's finally starting to see the light. But fans, until we speak again, which will be on a regular basis now with these shorties we're producing, be well.